Hey guys, it's Litter and Astero here, and welcome back to more Persona 4 Arena.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
So, yes, I already did, and we're gonna play.
I'm on a mission.
Aigis' story. So, now we're finally getting into the stories of the Persona 3 characters, which
Are you awake?
which I'm really excited about. And oh my god, who is that voice?
I'm sorry. I had turned off my consciousness to test the new equipment installed on me.
Yes, that's why we use the emergency channel. We've been asked to go into action.
Adachi?
Has something happened? Who sent the request?
We'll brief you on the details in transit. Also, regulations say that the member with the lowest serial number is in command. Currently, that's you.
I'm in command? Are you sure about this? After all,
You're well suited for it, in my opinion.
Understood.
Who is this? Okay. Hold on, I gotta get myself comfortable. Okay, so now I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen and how the three Persona 3 characters are tied into this. So we shall see. Okay. May 1st, 2011, 9:30. Also, I really want to know what that voice was. So. Men equipped with assault suits and tactical vests line the concrete ground. Their urban camouflage and unmoving poses give them the appearance of an orderly line of rocks. 30 minutes have already passed since the special assault team took up positions near the passenger plane stopped on the landing strip. Their captain glares at the passenger plane before he slowly turns around and looks at each of his men. Every last one wears ski masks and thick tactical visors to mask their identities, but he knows them nonetheless.
Tell me about the situation and make it quick. We don't have much time.
I wish I knew what was going on. One of the team steps forward next to him. The touchscreen tablet in his right hand has a summary of the case on it. On May 1st, 2012, around 900 hours, a wide-body passenger aircraft headed for Kagoshima sent out a 75,000 squawk code during passenger boarding. Following the signal, the captain reported to the control tower that their aircraft had been hijacked. Since the uprising occurred during passenger boarding, only half of the passengers, 168 exactly, had boarded. The 10 crew members bring it into a total of 175 hostages thought to be on board. Some passengers seated near the hatch had succeeded in escaping. The following points were gained from questioning them. Take care not to be seen by the hijackers. There are 3 hijackers. All of them are covering their faces with ski masks. All of them are armed with what seems to be pistols. From their voices and builds, they appear to be males. They all spoke fluent Japanese. Currently, the aircraft in question has moved to the front of the landing strip at the hijackers' insistence and has stopped there. The authorities have attempted to negotiate with the hijackers by radio, but they have made no demands. The team member finishes his report. The captain nods silently and addresses his team.
There hasn't been a plane hijacked in this country in over 10 years. None of us, not even me, have dealt with this before. Still, the procedure remains the same. Trust yourself, remember your training, and keep a cool head.
The captain turns towards the plane again. Taking that as a cue, the team scatters to their specified posts to take up positions. The only thing to do now is to see what happens. Okay, so we went from badass shadow tank to special ops. Eventually 10 o'clock comes around. Half an hour has passed already with no new developments. Repeated attempts to raise the hijackers have been made, but they have yet to make any demands. Tensions are beginning to rise. The worst case scenario is that they have no need to make a demand, that their objective is to seize the passenger plane itself. In this case, the team would be facing a large-scale terrorist attack.
Come on, talk to us.
The captain mutters to himself, deep in thought. From the perspective of rescuing the hostages, every second that passes without learning the hijacker's objective is a second wasted. The captain and his team can wait in hiding, but the same is not true for the passengers on board. For untrained civilians, extreme stress can easily lead to physical and mental problems. It's true not only for the hostages, but for the hijackers as well. When people lose their nerve, they tend to act rashly. The hostages will begin to lose hope, and the hijackers will begin taking it out on the hostages. An hour into the incident, anything could be happening inside the plane. The captain could do nothing but glare as the time ticked by. After 15 more minutes had passed, a slight change in the situation was reported. All emails and calls going through stations near the airport are being checked. The details of the message thought to be from inside the plane are not confirmed. It appears that the hijackers had confiscated all cellular phones as per standard hijacking plans, but...
Sir, there's a report from HQ. They picked up a transmission from one of the passengers' cell phones. It's a smartphone with GPS, so they can tell it's inside the plane.
Confirm those details for me.
There are two possibilities. The hijackers are using a passenger's phone to contact associates outside, or that a passenger is contacting someone in secret. The latter possibility is more likely. More and more devices have communication capabilities now, making it extremely difficult for hijackers to remove them entirely from play. And the more hostages involved, the more courageous they become, and the more likely to take risks. Unfortunately, more hostages involved means it's all the more dangerous to provoke the hijackers. Each individual hostage is worth less than to them. The details of the transmission make it apparent that the situation is worse than the team had assumed. The cell phone's owner is a man in his 60s in first class. He signed up with a certain service after being diagnosed with heart illness. It's a remote EKG monitoring service that keeps track of the patient's heartbeat. A scheduled message was automatically sent from the patient's cell phone. The service provider promptly contacted the police, informing them that the man was in bad shape.
A man's life is at stake if we don't wrap this up within the hour. Looks like we can't stall for time.
As panic spreads, a proposal for negotiations based on this fact and a proposal to storm the plane are both considered. But because only half the passengers had boarded, the situation inside the plane is uncertain, making devising a tactical plan difficult. Though, if nothing is done, a passenger will surely succumb within the hour. A blunder like that must be avoided at all costs. That was the thinking that guided the police officials to make their decision. That same day, at 10:30.
What? Withdraw? This is a hijacking! What are you thinking, withdrawing our people? Yes, I understand.
Wait, what's going on?
Orders are orders. We'll fall back at once. Get ready.
No one understood the sudden withdrawal order. Why withdraw the team during the hijacking? No one on the scene agreed with the decision, but the order could not be overturned. The men here are not the brain, but limbs whose power is best but to use by precisely following orders. Just then, another group approaches without a sound. Its members are dressed differently, in suits and trench coats, but all of them wear black with sunglasses. At a glance, it is clear that they are tall, well-built, and used to rough situations. With nearly 20 of them gathered in one place, they are imposing despite their silence. They don't seem to be airport personnel, but neither are they known to be to the police. However, the captain senses a kindred spirit in them and approaches.
Who are you?
His voice is laced with suspicion, but the man in black at the head of the group speaks dispassionately as if he heard nothing.
For the next half hour, we're in command of this scene.
Men in black.
You didn't answer the question. Who's responsible for this?
The captain's tone unconsciously hardens. The group of men in black parts, and one of their number in the rear steps forth. The captain can't stop himself from furrowing his brow. He can already sense the unrest spreading amongst his team, watching in silence. The one stepping forward looks like a 17... Oh, God! Looks like a 17 or 18-year-old girl. She is dressed in black and sunglasses like those around her, but her slender build is out of place. Not only that, her blonde hair stands out even more in contrast to her all-black outfit. The girl walks a few more steps forward and removes her sunglasses. The captain had intended to appraise the look in her eyes, but only gasped at her crystalline blue eyes. He quickly regains himself and frowns at her.
So you're the one in charge?
Yes,
Are you shitting me?
there is no time to waste quarreling.
The girl looks at him fearlessly, despite the armed team surrounding her. The unreality of it all is what helps the captain get over his surprise. Her age and appearance are most likely meaningless. She is clearly no ordinary girl.
Are you not even gonna tell me who you're with?
I cannot.
So you expect me to hand over control of the scene to you without even telling me who the hell you are?
I believe orders to withdraw have already been issued.
Her calm, sweet voice only irritates him. The captain closes the distance with the girl, and while he stops short of grabbing her suit, he glares into those blue eyes for only inches away.
Lady, I don't know what kind of juice you have with the brass, but are you ready to be responsible for the deaths of those passengers?
Your protests are doing nothing to relieve the danger. Rescuing them as soon as possible is my, or rather, our duty.
The girl is completely unraveled as she speaks. It's like she's a machine or something, the captain thinks, more dumbfounded than angry.
Have faith in us. We too wish to save them.
For the first time, something like determination flickers within those crystalline eyes. After looking into them, the captain finds something akin to resolve and confidence in them. He steps back. Raising his right hand to his chest, he shows the girl his watch.
Right. But you got exactly 30 minutes and not a second more.
Understood.
After the girl nods, she gives instructions to prepare a stair car to the group she is leading. The captain's fist tightens nervously. Since there are few uses for a stair car, quietly moving into place may make the hijackers think that a strike team is getting ready to storm the plane. But there are no hesitations in the girl's actions.
Well then, move in as naturally as possible while staying in their blind spots.
Eventually, a roofless stair car advances slowly towards the passenger plane.
The closest we can get without them noticing will be about 10 meters from the plane.
That will be more than enough.
More than enough? What's the point of half-assing it like that? The captain's annoyance begins to turn to curiosity. If she is replacing the SAT team, then she must have a plan beyond simple brute force, but...
Now, let's begin.
The stair car stops. The girl gets out of the driver's seat. She walks slightly behind the vehicle, turns towards the passenger plane, and sits with one knee up.
What's she doing?
The captain brings up a pair of binoculars to see her behavior more closely. At first, he assumes she is going to use the stair car movement as a decoy and send her team in from a different direction. Like humans, most vehicles have significant blind spots above and underneath. Yet that doesn't seem to be her plan. Does she plan to make her move while using the stair car as shelter? Is she possibly going to snipe them? The captain discards the possibility. It would be foolish to set up a sniper perch at a lower angle of elevation where the girl is now. While the captain mulls over the question, the girl makes an unexpected move. She appears to lower her stance slightly one moment, and then next she is no longer in sight. By the time the captain grasps that she is running, she has already reached the top of the stair car. Her slender body launches like a cannonball from the top of the stairs.
What? She jumped?
Even the SAT members voice their surprise. The girl's leap arcs over a distance of over 10 meters. It's clearly beyond the abilities of a human being. Coming in the middle of a hijacking, the scene seems even more surreal. The girl lands on top of the aircraft and stands as if nothing unusual had happened. She looks at the aircraft beneath her and slowly turns her head to scan it from back to front. It reminds the captain of the movements of a security camera. He knows it should be impossible, but he wonders if she can see through the plane's ceiling. Eventually, the girl seems convinced of something and begins walking. When she reaches the boarding hatch at the front, she moves her right hand to her back. The captain notices that a special knife coated gray from blade to hilt is in her hand.
What's she gonna do with that knife?
The girl suddenly lowers her stance and slides down the side of the aircraft. Just as she's about to fall, she thrusts the knife into the jamb of the hatch and dangles from it.
That's just crazy.
She then uses her left hand to pull the handle and unlocks the hatch with ease. Once the thick, airtight door juts out of the aircraft, the girl nimbly jumps into the plane. The captain is shocked by her dauntless methods. He begins to wonder if she intends to defuse the situation on her own. The captain lowers the binoculars and faces the reality before him with his own eyes. Who in the world is she? The doubts he had dismissed rise within him. A warning light goes on in the cramped cockpit. Two people there notice it at once. One of them is the captain sitting in the pilot's seat. The other one is the man holding a gun to the back of the captain's head. The light is labeled Hatch Open. Even an amateur can understand what it means. The man suddenly tenses and stands ready at the passenger side door. He prepares himself for someone to charge through it. But he quickly regains himself and turns the gun back onto the captain. The man casts irritated glances back and forth between the captain and the door for a while, but eventually approaches the door, his gun pointed at the captain. He cautiously cracks open the door and looks towards the passenger seating. Just outside the cockpit is the first class section. But the passengers were gathered in the economy class at the time of the hijacking. First class is empty. The man squints. To ward off observation, or worse, snipers, the windows are down. Coming into the darkened plane from the bright cockpit forces his eyes to adjust. But from the corner of his eyes, he sees a gleam of light shining in that's unlike the regular lights. And within that light is a silhouette. Before he can react, a silhouetted figure closes the distance. A hand grabs the edge of the door and opens it with tremendous force. 2 quick, heavy shots are fired. The man collapses unconscious without a sound. The captain turns around in surprise to see the intruder, a blonde girl with an index finger to her lips to signal silence. She first lays the man on the ground and then removes the pistol in his hand. On closer inspection, it is only a model gun supplemented with metal parts. The seam between the parts is in different places compared to a real gun. If taken apart, the disassembled pieces would look nothing like a real pistol. The girl then takes handcuffs from a small pouch on her waist and fastens the man's arms to a seat leg near the window. Even if he wakes up, he will be unable to stand. Though the captain still looks as if he wishes to say something, the girl's eyes meet his and insist on silence as she leaves. The curtain dividing first class and economy classes close. The girl hides herself behind it and peeks through. There is a man in each of the aisles on the left and right. Neither seems to have noticed her. The passenger and the cabin crew are crammed into seats in the back. Everyone's placement matches the readings from her heat sensors she picked up from above the plane. Both remaining hijackers are closer to first class. The man closest to her is only a few steps away. She judges that he can easily be disabled before reacting if she moves quickly. They both carry pistols, but they are the same type as the downed hijacker. From what she can see, these two are mere model guns. The girl swiftly pushes aside the curtain and grabs the closer man's right wrist. The hijacker, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of such a slender girl, stops moving forward for a moment. In that moment, he surrenders any chance of victory he may have had. With a pained cry, he drops the pistol to the ground. The girl uses her grip on his right hand to put him on the ground, then smoothly pulls out another pair of handcuffs and locks his arms to the passenger seat. The man thrashes about, but despite his struggle, he is no better than a worm writhing on the ground. The last hijacker finally recovers from his shock and aims his gun. The girl pulls a button from the other man's sleeve and flicks it towards her opponent's face. The button travels at immense speed, though it was only fired from her fingers. The man tries to shield his face, but he is too late and groans in pain when the projectile impacts his forehead. The girl does not let the opportunity pass. She easily jumps over the 3-seat wide center blocks of seats with one arm and grabs the man's right hand. There, she repeats the same procedure she used before. Their weapons are immediately seized while they are restrained on the floor. The passengers are only now grasping what's happening before their eyes. The murmuring chorus rises.
Do not be alarmed. I have come to rescue you. Your safety has not been secured yet, so please stay calm and remain in your seats.
The passengers erupt in a cheer. There is a sporadic applause as well, but there is a slightly hysterical tinge to it in reaction to the tension of the situation.
Excuse me. We were told someone requires medical assistance for their chronic heart illness. His name is...
Just as the girl approaches the center of the plane, she senses a male passenger stand up from a seat. He is extremely calm and quiet as he does so. The girl belatedly picks up on the incongruity. All the other passengers are nervous. It is then that she feels something hard pressing up against the back of her head. She knows without looking that it is the muzzle of a gun. The nearby passengers' cries of relief suddenly turn into screams.
I am impressed with your judgment to stay hidden until an opportunity arose.
The girl is unperturbed as she continues to look straight ahead. The man stays silent and keeps the pistol pressed to her head. She knows there is no danger of being shot, but she is not yet sure that he was the only one in hiding. Left with no choice, the girl accedes to his demands and moves forward. And after about 10 steps, another man steps up as expected.
Ah, and you too.
The man doesn't answer. He slowly approaches from the front. The girl is now sandwiched from the front and back. At that moment, footsteps sound from beyond the curtain leading into first class. The two culprits both react at once, but it is too late. Over 10 men in black rush in at once from behind the curtain. While the girl had drawn the hijacker's attention with the scuffle, the stair car had closed in. First, they pinned down the man standing in front. The narrow passage gives the man behind her a short reprieve, but it doesn't last long. The moment he lowers the hand gripping the pistol in order to escape, the girl grabs his wrist. So focused was he on the men who burst onto the scene that he forgot about the threat the girl posed. He is immediately tripped and restrained once he falls on his back. The girl stands up and looks around. If there were any more hijackers inside the plane, this would be their last chance to make a stand. But no one rises from their seat. She glances towards the men in black, and they nod back in acknowledgement. It seems the crisis has been averted! The girl carefully keeps her thoughts from appearing on her face, and gives an inner sigh of relief. Soon afterward, the sweeper team gives a report confirming that the aircraft is secured. The girl works with the cabin crew to arrange transport for the man with the heart illness before she steps out for a moment. Oh my God. She turns on the blue indicator light on the stair car and waves it in a circle towards the SAT's position. It is a signal that the crisis is over.
She's done already?
On receiving the sign, the SAT team on standby starts talking amongst themselves.
It hasn't even been 5 minutes. There should have been at least 3 hijackers.
You know what they remind me of is those guys. Like Men in Black or something.
Captain, who are those people? Is that one even human?
The captain sighs with reluctance.
This is just a rumor. But I've heard that the higher-ups formed an unofficial security group in conjunction with a certain corporation. It's supposedly for cases that are a little strange. I hear they have some official standing with the police, too.
So they legitimately became the Men in Black. Get going, Mitsuru.
Though it's all some private enterprise, so technically, there's no authority involved at all.
What? But this is Japan we're talking about.
Yes, this is Japan. It happens all the time.
A search and destroy unit that answers to no department and keeps no records. I've heard them called Shadow Operatives.
Ah, nice name. He turns on his own blue light as a sign of understanding and waves it left and right. The response light comes from up ahead. The girl then sees the captain spreading his arms in a shrug and smiles for the first time. She feels slightly bad for them. Her team may have shamed them, though they had not done nothing wrong. I should apologize to them later. But then, in the corner of the girl's eyes near the entrance of the luggage carts, the corner of the building, a figure catches her attention.
A girl?
The girl seems to be about her age and is wearing a plain cape-like dress. The girl on the aircraft feels oddly uneasy at seeing the figure. To begin with, given the heightened security, the parking entrance would be strictly sealed, but the figure looked perfectly ordinary.
May I check on something?
The girl calls to the SAT captain over the radio. There appears to be some slight interference necessitating from adjusting of the dial.
What is it?
If you look towards my left, in front of the luggage loading bay is...
But during the moment she looked away, the figure had disappeared.
She's not there. That can't be.
The girl looks around, but the figure is nowhere to be seen. Where could she have gone in this open space with nowhere to hide?
What's the matter?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was apparently seeing things.
The girl shuts the radio off. Who was that just now? Was I truly seeing things? With those questions in mind, the girl tries to remember the figure's appearance in detail. Only then does she realize the cause of her unease. That light blue dress the figure wore. It was very similar to one she herself had once. It reminds her of those days when she did not yet have a heart. Save point? No? Oh my god. The girl puts those thoughts aside and returns to the aircraft. The mission does not end with taking the culprits into custody. In truth, along with the defusing the situation, securing the safety of one particular passenger was her highest priority. This fact was not revealed to the SAT team. The passenger was originally seated in first class, but would have been forced to move. The girl looks carefully through the restless passengers. It is not long before she finds the face she seeks. Looking relieved, the girl walks towards the passenger in question.
Are you all right, Mitsuru-san?
Oh my god, really? Really?
Aigis, I didn't think you'd be the one to come.
The woman who answers has long shining hair that would make an impression on anyone. Her refined appearance makes her stand out over and above her calm position in her seat. But Aigis knows the woman well.
In fact, I was surprised to be called on to deal with something like this. The suspects made no demands. What were they after? At first, I thought I was summoned because you were their target, Mitsuru-san.
The higher-ups must have thought the same thing and panicked. Especially considering there's cargo on that plane they wouldn't want made public. Wait a second, that cargo...
Is something wrong?
This hijack seems strange now that I think about it. They made their move before takeoff, which is odd timing. And they forced the boarding announcement to be stopped. I thought maybe it was their way of trying to pull it off with a small team.
Are you saying that rather than a passenger, they were after that cargo? It's true that no one would consider the unloaded luggage during a hijacking.
I guess I need you to check on my things. Though if I'm right, it's already too late.